Having 3 fingers is lucky in a way.
What? How dare she say that to my child who was born with a disability? At that time, I felt that it was extremely disrespectful. Hi, I'm Miwa Kobayashi, a 26-year-old stay-at-home wife. My family is moderately wealthy, so I grew up in a very strict environment. From childhood, I was trained in skills such as cooking and sewing and was also thoroughly taught manners and etiquette. At college, my friends said things like old-fashioned and ideal woman, and I finally realized that my family's education was a little different from nowadays. Around this time, if I had talked to my friends and realized there was no good in holding back, I might not have had to go through all that trouble. Anyways, back to the story. Shortly after my 4th year at college, my parents introduced me to Yosuke Kobayashi, a man who is 3 years older than me. I could tell that he was raised well because I was impressed by his words and attitude. Apparently, he's the son of my father's friend. My parents secretly told me that they wanted me to marry into Yosuke's house. They didn't need to tell me that because I already liked him and he seemed to like me. That being the case, I got married to Yosuke right after graduating from college. He's the eldest son of a prestigious family that's a higher rank than ours. His father, who's a friend of my father, has already passed. Although his uncle has taken over his father's company, Yosuke will probably eventually sit in the president's chair. His mother is in charge of the house and property management, so that's why I ended up staying with the Kobayashi family, living with his mother. And so, since we're getting married, of course, I went to greet her and I was very nervous because I heard she's strict. But, hello, I was wondering what kind of young lady would come, but she's surprisingly put together.
Miwa is always ladylike and does the housework perfectly. She supports me too, and she's a good woman.
I like you. Looks like I can trust you with Yosuke with no worries. I'm not good at much, but please be kind to me. Yes, of course. She seemed strict, but I thought that if I did well, I would be fine and get along with her. Then one day, a week before the wedding, I received this message from my husband.
My sister is planning on coming home tomorrow, actually.
Oh, that means I can finally meet her.
I wish you met her on our wedding day, not tomorrow.
She's a famous photographer, right? I was really curious about what kind of person she is.
Well, my sister isn't a bad person, but she's a bit unique or something like that. You'll be surprised, trust me. Sorry if she comes off strong.
I think being unique is a strength. Also, she's your sister, so I'm sure she's a wonderful person.
I really hope so. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow.
Kumi, my sister-in-law, is 2 years older than my husband. She's currently a popular photographer and travels all over the world. It was a bit surprising that the eldest daughter of this family had the freedom to do whatever she wanted. Also, I was concerned that my husband didn't welcome my sister-in-law back home, but when I met her, I kind of understood why.
So you're my new little sister. Nice to meet you.
Even though we met for the first time, she suddenly hugged me, which of course was very surprising. Nice to meet you too, Kumi-san.
You don't need to say san. Just call me Kumi, okay? Oh, or how about calling me sis or something?
She seems like a pretty frank person. She may be approachable and friendly to many people, but due to my personality, I don't like people who come too close to me.
Kumi, please stop. Miwa isn't the type of person who can keep up with that energy.
Exactly. You have no manners whatsoever. Both my mother-in-law and Yosuke looked bitter. Although it's not that bad, the Kobayashi family and my sister-in-law don't seem to get along. The wedding day arrived, and the ceremony of a prestigious family proceeded in a solemn atmosphere. But...
Miwa, look over here. You look gorgeous. Yosuke, you look handsome. Both of you look over here.
My sister-in-law was taking pictures while calling out our names in a loud voice. I know she's happy for us, but she seemed a little out of place. Yosuke and mother-in-law both frowned, and I myself felt very uncomfortable. To be honest, I also started to not like her as well. But after the ceremony, she left for work overseas again, and I didn't have a chance to see her after that. 2 years have passed, and my mother-in-law is still strict, but I managed to live peacefully. Also, something happened that made me so happy that I thought I was on cloud 9. Then, I received a text from Yosuke.
Miwa, is it true that you're pregnant? It's not fake news, right?
No, it's not. I just had a test done at the hospital, so it's true. But how do you know about this?
You told my mom first, right? So she called me to let me know about this.
Oh, I told her that I would tell you directly.
Hey, but she's very excited for us, though. I think she told me because she couldn't wait.
That's true. But I'm glad that she's happy, including you.
Yeah, of course I am. I'll leave work early today.
Okay, I'll be waiting for you. Yes, I just found out I'm pregnant. Both my mother-in-law and husband seemed very happy. Of course, I also wanted a child, so I was so happy too that I almost started screaming. After some time, we found out that the baby was a boy, and Yosuke and mother-in-law were even more pleased to have a successor. It's a good feeling to be praised by them, but what if the baby was a girl? Would they still react the same way? Despite these thoughts, I was very careful during my pregnancy because I wanted to give birth to a healthy baby. And then, in the blink of an eye, the day of birth came, and my baby was born effortlessly and quickly, without any trouble. But the doctors and nurses who were there started to whisper to each other. In my fading consciousness, I desperately raised my voice. Is my baby okay? Did something happen? The doctor answered me, although she seemed a little hesitant. Yes, your baby is fine. He's a healthy boy. However, there is one problem. The doctor then showed me the newborn baby's hand. Oh no. The baby only had 3 fingers on his right hand. I was told that it was something called a congenital limb defect and that it was rare. But why my child? I couldn't help but think that...
Oh my god, I can't believe that he has a disability.
Yosuke was also clearly disappointed. As for my mother-in-law, she was holding her head and grieving from the bottom of her heart. It was a day that should have been the greatest celebration of my life, but it felt like a wake. Then, a noisy voice echoed in the hospital room.
Sorry for being late. Did you have the baby already?
It was my sister-in-law. Come to think of it, she did say that she would come a little late because she was busy with work. Then she rushed over to see my baby.
Aw, how cute is he? Huh?
She immediately realized that the baby had no fingers. When I explained this to her...
Oh, I see. But having 3 fingers is lucky in a way.
What? How dare she say that to my child who was born with a disability? I felt that it was extremely disrespectful. But before I could say anything...
What the hell is wrong with you? That's very insensitive.
Please leave right now. You give me a headache. My mother-in-law and Yosuke were pissed. She then tried to say something, but I think she didn't feel comfortable arguing in the hospital because she quickly left. Anyways, my son was perfectly healthy except for his fingers and was able to leave the hospital with me without any problems. After leaving, my life centered around my son. After thinking for a while, I decided to name him Shoya. I was surprised at first, but it doesn't change the fact that he is my beloved son. I was just so grateful that he came into this world. However, Yosuke and mother-in-law were different. Yosuke is always busy with work, but he started coming home late and avoiding seeing Shoya. Not only that, he ended up not caring about him when he comes home sometimes. My mother-in-law doesn't seem to be loving to her first grandchild and seems to be avoiding even talking to me. Then something cruel happened one night. I was putting Shoya to bed in the bedroom and was about to head to the living room because I was thirsty. It was late at night, so when I opened the door quietly, I saw my mother-in-law and Yosuke talking. Seeing the serious looks on their faces, I stopped for some reason and ended up eavesdropping. I thought she was a good wife, but I was wrong. I didn't expect her to give birth to a child with a disability.
I guess it was Miwa's fault after all.
It is her fault. She was eating a lot of meat during her pregnancy.
Well, it's said that your tastes change when you're pregnant.
Maybe that wasn't something good.
I also thought that she was eating too much.
I'm sure that's the cause. God, she only thinks about herself. Can't believe it.
I should have told her when she was pregnant.
I turned around and went back to my bedroom and cried my eyes out in bed. I knew that something was wrong with both of them, but but I couldn't believe they thought Shoya's fingers was my fault. The most painful thing was that somewhere in my heart, I felt the same way as them. I couldn't help but think that if I had been more careful during my pregnancy, my baby might have been born perfectly healthy. After that day, I continued living a normal life, but their words remained deeply pierced in my heart. Even my parents said, I feel so bad that my daughter gave birth to a child with a disability, so I didn't even bother talking to them about this. In fact, I will end up being blamed. If this continues, I may not be able to continue our marriage, but I have nowhere to go. Thinking about this made me feel overwhelmed with anxiety. Then one day, I received this text from my sister-in-law.
Hi, how's Shoya? Is he doing okay?
Yes, he's better than ever.
Does he cry at night? Aren't you tired?
I am, and it's hard, but I'm doing my best.
I see. That's good to hear. I'm planning on staying in here for a while. So would it be okay for me to see Shoya? I couldn't meet him properly last time.
Of course you can. When can you come?
I really don't want to go there, so if you don't mind, do you want to come to my place?
Oh, your place? Are you sure?
Yes, of course. I'll pay for the taxi.
It's okay. Thank you for your thoughtfulness, and also inviting me over to your place. I felt like I needed a break from this house full of negative energy, so I was so happy. And so I went to visit my sister-in-law's apartment.
Shoya, it's Auntie. Oh, look at you. You're so cute.
My sister-in-law loves Shoya very much, unlike those two at home. That's not all. Her house was equipped with children's clothes, diapers, and many toys for Shoya to play with. Apparently, it was prepared as a baby gift for me, and she even had more in her closet that almost filled the whole place. For the first time, I thought I had met someone other than myself who was happy with Shoya's birth. When I saw my sister-in-law loving Shoya, I suddenly burst into tears. She then gently hugged me and listened to my whole story.
You must have had a tough time. You did your best. Their values haven't changed a millimeter since old times. They said terrible things to you, didn't they?
Seems like she was aware of how I'm treated at home. So maybe she called me here to let me escape from the terrible environment.
Like I said before, Shoya is lucky. No doubt about it.
Isn't that what you said in the hospital room also? Why do you think so?
Because those who are going to shake hands with Shoya will never forget him, right?
I was very surprised by her words, because I had never thought of it that way.
I don't know about you, but I forget people's faces and names, and I always feel awkward asking, "Who are you?" to that person. But Shoya's uniqueness is something that will always stand out and be remembered. It's a special something that sets him apart from others.
Her words are helping me, but although I love Shoya with all my heart, I still recognize his fingers as a handicap. I always thought that he could get bullied about his fingers someday, or people may avoid him. I had all these negative thoughts in my head, but my sister-in-law kept on telling me that it was a plus. But when my feelings get down, she scolded me gently by telling me this.
If you can't be proud of Shoya's fingers, he won't be able to be proud of himself. Shouldn't you be the one who teaches him that he should be proud of his uniqueness?
Wow, that really hit hard. Even though I thought my husband and mother-in-law were terrible, I also treated this child with the same value as them. I can't believe I despised Shoya because I was weak.
Hey, changing isn't easy, so there's no point in blaming yourself. But if you really want to change, say what you want to those two back at home. I'll follow you as your ally.
Thank you so much. I don't want to stay in that house anymore, so we then went to the house we both hated.
Hey, yo!
Why are you here all of a sudden? Oh, hi, Miwa. You're with Kumi? What happened? I want to talk about something with you and Yosuke. What is it? I was taken to the room that was being used as a guest room and faced my mother-in-law and Yosuke. Luckily, Shoya was asleep, so I put him safely in the room next to ours.
So, what do you want to talk about?
I'm going to be straightforward, but I want a divorce. Kumi held my trembling hand tightly after I said that.
If that's what you want, then it's okay with me.
Yosuke and his mother-in-law didn't hold back. In fact, they looked really relieved.
I'll pay child support.
Thank you. The child support is for Shoya, so I will gladly receive it. To be honest, I don't want to be associated with people who treat my child as some kind of monster whatsoever. Excuse me? What's with that tone? My grandchild has a disability because you couldn't take care of yourself. Did you forget to respect the elders? Respect? Why would I respect someone who judged people based on outdated values and even insults them? Just to let you know, the cause of this disorder is unknown. Why am I the only one who is responsible for this?
Hey, are you saying I'm the cause of this too?
Shoya was born by inheriting your genes and mine. Can't you at least think that you might be the cause of it? No? Or what? Did you think that I gave birth to Shoya on my own or something? Even though I was speaking in a strong tone, I couldn't help but shed tears. I've been blaming myself ever since Shoya was born. I thought that maybe this happened because something was wrong with me. But after Kumi talked to me, I realized that it would be okay if I thought his 3 fingers as part of his wonderful uniqueness. I'm very proud of him. Their faces turned red and looked down at my words.
This is a really embarrassing family. You guys said that my personality might be possessed by some evil spirit or something. Who the hell are you guys to be saying that? You guys should realize what an ugly and small world you're living in now. You could have changed for the better if you had just been grateful that Miwa and Shoya came, you know.
After saying that, Kumi seemed like she was satisfied and was tired of their silence, so she suggested that we go home. At that time, I don't know why, but I said something that was on my mind the whole time. You 2 outdated idiots! And my sister-in-law laughed out loud and drove Shoya and me back to her apartment.
Miwa, you're really not used to swearing, right? You 2 idiots! Sorry, I have to laugh again.
I'm sorry.
No, I feel so much better. I'm pretty sure that those 2 were affected by your words.
Okay, so this is what happened afterward. I was able to get a divorce without any problems and received alimony and an apology. I said I didn't need one, but Yosuke wanted me to take it as a sign of remorse, so I decided to accept it gratefully. He seemed to have thought a lot since last time and said he realized how stupid he was. I thought it was too late, but as his father's right, I decided to let him see Shoya once a month. My mother-in-law did not apologize, so I cut ties with her completely. I hope she can spend her old age alone and lonely. The most surprising thing was that I ended up living with my sister-in-law Kumi in her apartment. She was worried about my lack of work experience and hired me as a housekeeper. She said that it was convenient because she had originally decided to focus her activities as a photographer in Japan. I think she's probably lying out of concern for me, but I appreciate it. I will do my best to help with household chores for her because I know that she's a really busy person. Raising a child under the guidance of a woman with such a wide perspective is truly reliable and very enjoyable. I am so happy that I can proudly say that I am happy now.